We're used to seeing iconic faces in popular culture and immediately identifying them with the franchises that we've come to know and love. However, the conception of a hero or villain prior to final implementation can take several twists and turns before a character's aesthetic reaches its final, most recognizable form. Such is the case for the titular character in He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. He was presented as a specific concept with a certain look and style before evolving into his most familiar visual appearance. But we as fans like to trace the history of He-Man before he was officially the muscle-bound barbarian we came to know. And back in 2012, Mattel opted to add his early prototype appearance as a character in their Masters of the Universe Classics line at the time. As such, who is this character that was retroactively coined as Vykron, and why is he important to the MOTU lore? Find out right here on Toy Connections. The inspiration for this video came from an article on the ToyHabits.com website, which broke the news about the renewed trademark for the Vykron name, information they sourced through common friend Allison Troy. Additional information and images were also sourced from the Battle Ram blog website, and you can find the various social media links for Toy Habits, Allison, and the Battle Ram blog in the description below.
To fully understand Vykron, we need to travel back in time to the earliest part of the 1980s when Mattel had the unbelievable task of competing with Kenner and their widely successful Star Wars franchise. With an already perpetually successful Barbie line of dolls, Mattel was in need of an action figure range of characters to make their mark with the young male demographic. As such, designer Roger Sweet put together a set of 3 prototypes for presentation to senior management. Using an existing Big Jim action figure as the base and some sculpting clay, he proposed several concepts, including the military-themed tank top, the sci-fi themed Space Ace, and of course, his earliest rendition of He-Man, who was proportioned in a manner to be several times the weight and muscle mass of even the most athletic-looking people at the time. As the selected He-Man concept evolved, and through the added brilliance of Mattel employees such as Mark Taylor, Mark Ellis, Paul Cleveland, and Derek Gable, He-Man's look shifted to the design for which he's become most recognized, not to mention the ensemble cast associated with cartoon history's favorite barbarian.
The He-Man prototypes likely would have remained as a famous footnote in the pages of toy history. However, the initial proposed look of He-Man was too important to pass up when the opportunity came to expand the range of characters offered in the more modern style Masters of the Universe Classics line of figures. As a result, and with this Classics line already being several years old, the trio of prototype concepts would be offered as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive box set and was also made available as an online purchase option in 2012. It was offered with a single figure and 3 sets of armor to dress him in, and depending on the set you got, the center of the box would have the figure and any of the 3 various sets of armor on it, with the other 2 sets to either side. Now, given the name of Vykron, his backstory was fleshed out such that he was a champion arena gladiator. The best warrior of then jungle ruler Lord Cholo, Vykron would learn from each opponent he defeated and would often claim their weapons and outfits to use as his own. It's easy to assume that this was Mattel's way of explaining the several outfits Vykron could wear, and while the 3 outfits in the SDCC box set represent the 3 prototype outfits, it's left to our imagination if Vykron had other equipment to wear or other weapons to wield during his time as Arena Gladiatorial Champion.
Unfortunately, as his MOTU Classics bio tells us, Vykron would meet his gruesome end when challenger Gygor did battle with him and ripped Vykron's body in half, putting an end to his days as champion. It's also interesting to note that Gygor was initially planned in the vintage Masters of the Universe line, utilizing the Big Jim Gorilla as its previous tooling, much in the same way as the Big Jim Tiger and Eagle were reused in the vintage MOTU line. Gygor was, however, eventually included in the MOTU Classics line. It's worth noting that Vykron could easily be mistaken as one of the He-Men of history. Just by his pure aesthetic look, one might naturally assume that he was a protector of the Power Sword, much in the same way as Hero, King Grayskull, Vykor, Wundar, Olar, Dare, and of course, Prince Adam. However, that's not simply the case. Yes, he wields the battle axe much like he did in his prototype form and bears the general He-Man aesthetic look. However, his backstory as a Classics character is limited to that of the champion gladiator role described just a moment ago.
With that being said, and with the fluid landscape of most pop culture canonized storylines, it wouldn't be a stretch for any future media to shift Vykron's backstory to include him as part of the He-Man lineage. After all, Hero's story has shifted a little bit here and there since his initial concept was presented in the cancelled Powers of Grayskull toy line that would have extended the MOTU franchise past 1987. It's also interesting to note that the Space Ace look was presented in the past as a proposed countermeasure to Star Wars, given the Mandalorian-looking appearance akin to Boba Fett. As for the tank top character, one could speculate it was a countermeasure to G.I. Joe Real American Hero, but as the MOTU and G.I. Joe Real American Hero lines both debuted in 1982, it's probably a safer guess that this appearance was playing off of the previous 12-inch line of G.I. Joe military figures that were on store shelves in the years prior to the creation of Masters of the Universe. All of that considered, why is Vykron still considered relevant and important right now? Well, it all comes back to the Toy Habits report of Mattel's renewal of the Vykron trademark. As such, he's an intuitive fit into the Masterverse toy line, which of course scales similar to MOTU Classics. This naturally offers fans the opportunity to purchase this figure whether they missed out on the Classics line or if they simply want a representation of him in more than one MOTU line. By extension, Vykron would obviously be a welcome addition into the Origins line of MOTU figures as well, expanding on an already popular range of characters and being a unique character with a rich backstory to make his way onto collector shelves. Let us know in the comments if this character interests or has interested you in the past, and don't forget to check the ToyHabits.com website for up-to-date Masters of the Universe news as well as toy news on other amazing toy franchises. Otherwise, we'll see you again next time. Thanks again, and take care.